So hi.
Hi, Julie.
Maryrose. Thank you for doing this for us.
Thank you.
It's very nice. So if you don't mind, I know that you shared with me when we first met that you were doing really great, that your life was great, you were a very happy person, you had never experienced any kind of depression or anxiety before, and then trauma hit. You had a rough experience, and that's almost 3 years ago now, and you were feeling very stuck. Will you share a little bit?
Very stuck. I never suffered with depression my whole life. I was 61 when my world fell apart, and always a very happy-go-lucky person, truly, very sincerely. Strong in my faith, and my Christian faith was always a foundation for me. And I was married for 29 years. And we had dated 10 years before, so this was a 39-year relationship. And I found out from our grown children, who were in their 20s, that he had been having an affair. They had found out. This particular affair was 5 years long at that point. It was in November of 22. And I was shocked to my core. You know, it was just everything that I thought, and then my whole world fell apart. And yeah.
And I know that you did a lot of really good things. You got out of the situation, you took care of yourself, you sought out help, you had counseling, and you did a lot of things, and you made a lot of progress, and you had a lot of love and support around you. So you really did a lot of the right things.
Right away.
But you were still feeling, I don't know if stuck is the word. I think we talked about the word fight or flight.
Yeah.
Let's start with, one of the first goals that you had, and I don't know if these were in order of importance to you, but one was feeling sad and depressed.
Yeah, and I really think that was the grief,
I can't help but notice that you're saying was, so I can't wait till we get.
I know. Come on, girl. I was saying was.
So
past tense.
Yes. So what was your sleep like?
Sleep was rough. I never had a problem with sleep until November of 22. Never had a problem. And then it was just the racing thoughts, waking up and not being able to sleep, go back to sleep. I never had that problem. Trouble falling asleep. Just not really getting good sleep. Definitely, people would say your cortisol is really high, the fight or flight. Just a lot of trouble sleeping.
Okay. And then you said you also felt a lot of nervousness and anxiousness, both in your body and worrisome thoughts. So maybe just share that.
Yeah, people are like, you have anxiety. And I know anxiety is fear of the future, and I know depression is, regrets from the past. And I never really feared the future, ever. But it was just, wow, how am I going to do this on my own? Going through a pretty nasty divorce, too, through all this.
Right.
Very nasty, contentious divorce, very contentious, and constantly having to fly back to New York for court dates and such.
Okay. So now we meet. I know we talked about when we first met this whole idea that when trauma happens in the brain, it creates imbalance in the brain that then can set you up where you're almost hijacked by your own brain. So like, you knew you didn't need to be afraid, but it's like your body goes into a fearful state without your permission, right? And so we kind of recognized that in the meeting. And then you went through the sessions. What has changed from what you just shared with me to now that you've been through the intensive program and you're on the other side of that now? What is your life looking like now that's different?
Okay, I really didn't understand this whole brain life. I really don't thoroughly understand it, but oh my word, from the first session, Julie, not understanding it, I left here, I went home and had my first amazing night's sleep. So for me, the effect was right away, and you had told me that I may not see any differences, but I saw differences right away. And that was a physical manifestation of wow, I am sleeping so, I slept so good. And then when you sleep good, finally, you start feeling better and the energy, returns. So that was the first thing I noticed. And it's continued. So that was several months ago, and it's been consistent. Sleep is wonderful. If I do wake up in the night, I go right back to sleep, and it's just a much more restful sleep and more on a circadian rhythm. But I see a big difference is you can make all the right decisions and knowing, but there's something that happens to your nervous system. All right, there's a the physical trauma to your nervous system. I'm not a psychologist. I don't understand all that. But I felt like Brain Life Center, what you guys do, tapped into my nervous system. Because it's just an overall feeling of calmness and peace and calmness and peace. There's just peace came over. Hope came came on the scene.
Yeah.
And what was the big one I noticed right away was gratitude. For me, it just has been an overflowing of gratitude, where that was hard for me, even though I know what I started a gratitude journal which I'd started before, probably a year and a half before I came to Brain Life, but it went to a whole nother level, okay, where I think I was telling you I would write, and I had really struggled to write one or two, and they would be short words, like things I was grateful for. But then in my gratitude journal, I noticed that my heart and joy was just overflowing, that my one thing of gratitude would be like a paragraph. And then the next item I would write would be another paragraph. And I just saw the world differently. Something happened in the brain.
Yeah.
It was just, I was so grateful for every little thing, and it hasn't stopped. So I giggle now because when I go to my gratitude journal, it's just continued. When you live a life of gratitude, and it says in Philippians 4, and I knew this, like, again, intellectually, but to live it out, the antidote to anxiety is gratefulness, is gratitude. And that just came on the scene in a huge way.
So isn't that interesting? Because as a Christian, I know that you were in the Word and you were praying and you were doing all the things. We work with a lot of Christians, and it's hard sometimes for Christians to acknowledge outside of here that they're struggling with these things, because we know that Scripture says we're not supposed to be anxious, right? But here you're a good example of someone who's doing all the right things, but you're white knuckling every day.
Exactly.
Thankfully, you have the Word of God and you have the truth, but you're still white knuckling. So is it fair to say that this kind of took the white knuckling away?
Yes.
Yeah. And now you're moving in what you were wanting to move in. And I feel like it removes obstacles.
Right.
And I watched that happen with you, because we spent a lot of time together through all of this. And it's beautiful, because God is already doing His plan in you, but now you're like free to move, right?
Yeah.
So the sadness, depression is gone. I mean, you still have things that you grieve over, and I'm sure you have. I think grief is normal to have days and moments, but you're not stuck in that on a daily basis.
Julie, that's hit the mark, because going through everything I went through, the grief was long, and it was there. Was I functional through it? Yes. But the difference now after these sessions is if I have a little sad moment, or if I get triggered, I've noticed when I get triggered, it's fleeting. If it lasts a moment, a half hour, an hour, at the most, I think it was a few hours or an evening. And when I woke up this morning, it was like His mercies are new every morning. And it was gone.
Yeah.
Great. So yeah. I mean, that was a dramatic, substantial change.
Yeah. Life-changing, right?
Yeah. And you know what? And it takes that anxiety away too, because, if I'm triggered, I just know in my know it's going to be, all right, Maryrose, you're going to get triggered and it's going to be coming less and the impact isn't there anymore.
Yeah. So, now that you're kind of unstuck, are there any things that you're able to do that you haven't been able to do in a few years?
Cook.
That's right.
So,
you're cooking.
just cooking up a storm, and I'm able to, and that, again, these are just physical things. I mean, I really struggled with it. Cooking is timing and get the ingredients, and not only making one, recipe, I was able to layer and do 2-3 things and have it going all this. I felt like
so your cognitive performance, I mean, there's the desire to cook, but then there's even the cognitive part where you can do it all.
Yeah.
I mean, cooking does take that. You have to have your mind on more than one thing at a time, right?
Yes, and could not do that up until a few weeks ago. No, I could not do it, and I don't know why, and it bothered me. And it's just manifesting in all these different areas are just so much better. And my relationships have changed when I catch people, if they're saying something that's not kind. I've also noticed criticism. I've become more astute to criticism, and that I'm not going there and shutting it down, and really a positivity has come over me, and if I see it going on around me or someone says it, I'm able to just turn all that around. So, and people have really noticed. The people who are closest to me have noticed a drastic change.
What are they saying? Tell me what they're saying.
They're just saying you're so positive, you're hopeful, you're not the same, you're so different, you're the way you're talking, the way you're moving, the way you're interjecting in conversations. They just can't believe it. It's all, and it's not only for the better, it's like umph degree better, and consistent.
Yeah.
And they know it's sincere and it's heartfelt, and it's not forced, it's not contrived, it's just very organic.
It's back to who you are.
Yeah, and then some.
Nice.
So, it's not back to who I was, it's a much better version.
Wow, nice.
Yeah, and it all comes down with being able to think, honestly, because I couldn't, and think like that. Now I can, and it's just a very since the brain's more calm and the nervous system's at calm, there's just so much joy and hope and in everything, in every aspect, work and family and my children and just everything. Yeah,
that's great.
Yeah,
that's awesome. I always like to ask this. I know that you experienced our team here, and they'll be able to watch some of this testimony. And if there's anything you want to say to the team here, because I know you make connections when you're here.
Oh my gosh. You're amazing. David, amazing. When you walk in, I remember Taylor, she was the first. You always remember your first when you go somewhere. The girls at the desk are just so amazing, all of them. And then you have Jules and Sparky, and you have this question, that question, and they take a lot of the questions. I know those ladies do. They were amazing and had such great answers with everything, explained everything. They make you feel so comfortable. And then you get to meet Melanie. Melanie is awesome. The team, I think this is just such an anointed team, and you guys are all just so knowledgeable and caring, and you fill in all the little gaps, and there's no stone left unturned. It's amazing experience to go through this. Well worth every bit of investment, time investment, financial investment, well worth it all. Bravo, well done, good and faithful servants.
Thank you. So that'll be great for them to hear that. If you run into somebody and they've come in and met with us, but they're on the fence, they don't know if they want to do this, they're not sure, they're nervous, whatever it might be, what kind of advice would you have for them?
Just do it. You know, unbeknownst to me, my niece went through this, and she goes, and it changed her life. She goes, Auntie, we talked about it about a week ago, changed her life. My nephew went through this whole program, and when he was younger, and he really benefited from it as well. And I ran into a girlfriend at church, and she and her family have come and benefited. So now that, you know, the word gets out, and the first thing I think of is, oh, I have a precious friend who just lost her husband unexpectedly. I have a friend who's dealing with tinnitus. So I'm spreading the word that this is out here, that this is such a valuable path that, you know, somebody could take, and it's literally changed my life. I know you're going to cry. It's changed my life.
Well, it changes my life. Watch it change your life. So it's a beautiful thing. So
Yeah.
well,
All for the better in every way.
Yeah.
You know, it's really life-changing. Really life-changing. So grateful.
That's awesome. Thank you.
Thank you, Julie. Thank you for what you and David do, and the whole team.
You're welcome. You're welcome. It's a pleasure to be with you.